Power Slap 16 recap show. What's next for the fighters? What matchups make sense? The shock, the awe, the excitement, the energy, everything that Power Slap brings. We're going to get into it. We're going to break it down. Obviously, Abu Dhabi, created some new opportunities. Guys like Tiger, Mr. Singh, huge superstar, blowing up right now internationally. Seeing some athletes come in to Power Slap. The international contingent continues to grow, and we're seeing some old faces that we've seen before, and we seemingly have. Darius making another resurgence in that heavyweight division, making things a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting. Obviously, Wolverine reigning supreme once again in a phenomenal match. We haven't seen Wolverine pushed like that at 205 ever in Power Slap. A lot of great storylines to get into. Let's break it down. Let's see what's next for these athletes, I think, right off the bat. Give me your assessment, your recap on the event as a whole before we break down Wolverine and Alan Klingbeil and what's next for Wolverine.
Yeah, obviously I think there's always a lot of questions when you bring in new talent. We talked about that excitement, but there's also a lot of question marks around what kind of talent will they be? Will they, strike clean? And we talked about it, in the lead up to Power Slap 17. We don't really know what to expect from these athletes. So there's a lot to be desired, especially for the ones who we don't have any concrete evidence have competed in slap before or what that looks like. So when you think about a guy like Jujhar Singh, who you kind of talked about, right, comes from India, represents an entire culture of people that we as Power Slap fans haven't really been exposed to up to this point. And now we see that, not only what he said in some form has come true, but also what I think, people who have some knowledge of the Indian fan base when it comes to slap fighting have represented in the past as well. A guy that we obviously have on our team, Big Jeeves, has always been bullish on the idea that the Indian fans would come out in droves when the time came. And, we got some evidence to prove that is the case. You also look at a guy like Logan Greenhalgh, who, for all intents and purposes, kind of came out of nowhere, man. Like, just made his move down to light heavyweight. At heavyweight was what I would consider to be a very average striker. Nothing too spectacular. Was taking his licks and dishing them, but there was no crazy stone cold knockouts or anything like that. Comes down to light heavyweight, beats a guy like Cody Young. There's still kind of some asterisks there, right? Because it's like the level of competition. Cody Young is a new guy that we haven't seen a whole lot from, and unfortunately for him, the only time we've seen him has been on the wrong side of a decision, meaning a loss essentially. But Russel Rivero is no slouch. He's been a mainstay in the light heavyweight division for an extremely long time. He's faced the best of them. Obviously, the last guy to face the champion, before the Alan Klingbeil match back in June. So for Logan to just come in and have what everybody in the industry considers to be the best night at the office you could possibly have is groundbreaking for him, and I think it also sets a new precedent in the light heavyweight division. You also have guys like Darius the Destroyer, who you alluded to earlier, who's been around since day one, is one of the what we'll call the founding fathers of Power Slap, and he had trouble, whether it was adjusting to the rule set or kind of figuring out what he needed to do differently in order to be effective in this organization, or a combination of both. He starts off on the wrong track, and he's gotten himself back there, and now he's starting to really chisel away at these guys that are, better and better, to the point where he's sitting there in a post-fight press conference and saying, hey, I'm ready for the champion, Damian DeBell, I want my belt. And there's so much history there that I think it just creates this really compelling story that it predates Power Slap even, when Damian DeBell was just a young adult, if you will, at the age of 18, 19 years old when he was participating in another organization. And Darius is also a guy who's relatively young. He's a little older than him, but still in the mid-20s. And so you got these two guys who are in what I would say is the most incredible condition you're going to be in as a slap fighter. I would say the prime is probably early 30s. But for slap, the younger you are, the better off you're going to be, because you haven't absorbed all that damage from the other combat sports you want to participate in. And I think accumulation of damage in this sport is massive. So there's a lot of stuff coming out of this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Dior Beck didn't have like the craziest performance. We know he can take a shot because he took one from Colton Cole. But bad night for Colton Cole, of course. That's not ever fun. But
yeah,
a lot of storylines, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. mean, Mio Ding, obviously coming from China as well, had a lot, kind of riding on her back, and things didn't go her way, proving that the first time that you're slapping a human up there on stage is very different than everything that you do in training and everything you think that you need to do to be able to prepare to go up there. Obviously, she lost by disqualification. I mean, and there's just so much, like you said, the storylines. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. That's the nature of the sport. You never know until you actually get these athletes up there and have them square off under real competition to be able to tell who has it and who doesn't. A lot of athletes we look at pass the eye test, but when it actually comes down to it, it doesn't come into fruition when they put it all together on the actual main stage itself. And then you look at it in the other way. You look at Wolverine, a guy that when you look at the eye test, you don't think passes. Like, you wouldn't think that he is, the
legend.
Exactly, the guy who
very unassuming.
Exactly, the legend that he is. Continues to rack up victories over guys that seemingly have, the more athletic builds, the guys that carry more muscle in Russel Rivero, the guys that have bigger personalities in Austin Turpin. Like all of these guys at the top, Wolverine has faced them, and he's had I'll say deficits, but has been seen that these other individuals had other things going for them, and he's put them all to rest now. He's literally cleaned out that division with all except for Logan Greenhalgh, who you alluded to earlier, who opened up the night against Russel Rivero and put Russell away. I mean, I can't remember the last time we've seen Russell like that.
It was AJ Hints.
AJ Hints, power slip number 2.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you think about a guy like Logan Greenhalgh, I mean, if it wasn't for what took place that night, light heavyweight would have a lot of questions. If that performance wasn't as emphatic, if what Russell had won, the way that, again, clubs have always been a problem for Russell, always. This is just something that he hasn't been able to fully shake, and it was his demise both times that he went for a belt. And I think, Logan Greenhalgh, obviously we've seen him get hit by the best of them. And I think most people would agree, Russel Rivero probably hits harder than Wolverine. He didn't have to absorb any damage from Russel Rivero, but if you look at his past opponents and fighting guys in heavyweight, I mean, Logan Greenhalgh's doing all right. He's a guy that has faced adversity and overcome it, and I think, as surprised as I am to say, I mean, listen, if you go from beating an unranked guy in Cody Young to beating the number 1 guy in the world in light heavyweight who's been, blazing his path for the last 2.5 years in that division, with all due respect, you deserve your shot. And I think he's knocking at the door that, Wolverine's going to open. We've seen him open that door time and time again. He's going to let him walk in. But, I'll coin this phrase, and if you guys will indulge me and you can feel free to use it, just make sure you credit its source. Everybody's somebody until they get slapped in the face.
Yeah, absolutely. Wolverine, so I mean, obviously, just kind of connecting the dots here. You think Wolverine versus Logan Greenhalgh in that light heavyweight division makes the most sense going forward. I can't argue the fact on that. I think it makes a lot of sense based off the stats of the division, not knowing what and where Luke Simons. I think that could be an opportunity. Actually, Logan Greenhalgh, Luke Simons could be a phenomenal matchup to also make, even though, it would be fighting down the rank versus Russell compared to where Luke was, but I think it was very foreseeable that Luke and Russell could have been on this card should it not have happened, or, Luke's situation happened. So there's a lot at play here. I think there's a lot that could go into this, and I think that's a phenomenal matchup that could be made. Should they give Logan Greenhalgh, I can back that. I can get behind it. I could understand it. Is it a bit too fast, too soon? Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out, because the accumulation of damage, like I say, you throw him in there again, and he goes to a slug match with Vern Cathy, and he goes 5 rounds, and he's shelved for 4 to 6 months. Is that the best for the sport? Is it the best for the division? Probably not. I mean, Wolverine is going to need a bit of time away. I think it's safe to say that going after, with what
taking 6 shots.
Alan Klingbeil did for him.
Historic. So, but you bring up a good point. I wouldn't be on this gravy train if the performance wasn't what it was.
Sure.
I think what Logan Greenhalgh did is way more important. I think how Logan Greenhalgh did it is way more important than what he did. And I believe that, some of the names you brought up, right, take Austin Turpin out of that division because now he's being moved to heavyweight, obviously born from some weight problems that he's had. I actually think Vern Cathy versus Luke Simons makes a ton of sense. Both guys coming off losses, very close in proximity to one another. And we've got to figure out here in this division who's real and who's not. Luke Simons just came out of a knockout, his very first one. Vern Cathy came out of his second knockout in a row Pretty vicious looking knockout. He's getting up there in age. He says he can still do it. I don't think there's any better test for him than Luke Simon. So as you say all of that, we sit here, and I know these guys didn't compete. I think Logan Greenhalgh, Wolverine, and then Luke Simon, Vern Cathy to figure out who's next.
Absolutely. The co-main eventing.
I think that's an easy one. My only question is, and I said this, and listen, I'm not by any means saying that this is the case, but I don't know why Hawaiian Hitman didn't compete on this card. I don't know why it was Dumpling versus Makini, and why there wasn't just either an immediate rematch for the Dumpling or a title shot for Makini. Obviously it was an intriguing matchup, and it was fun, and it was incredible to watch, and I think it rose Makini stock the appropriate amount. However, I can't help but wonder, and obviously we had him on the show, he was kind of like, I felt like he was maybe jumping around a little bit as if there's something going on that we don't know about. It's none of our business. That's totally fine. So I will say, obviously Makini Manu should be the next guy in line. But in the event that, for whatever reason, Hitman is not available to compete, I'm not against some more poly matchups here, and we could do Samoa versus Tonga, where you have Juicy or Kalani. I know those guys want to compete. Kalani's kind of been MIA for a while. I know he just had a child. But can you imagine Makini versus Juicy? Like, the personality, the size, obviously they both have that background, right? Being very tough Polynesians, representing two different cultures under that Polynesian umbrella. I mean, to me, it just sounds bad. It just sounds fun.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? To kind of second or kind of just bring more to light. I mean, if you look at it as a matchmaker standpoint in Power Slap, I think this match between Dumpling and Makini had to happen for the longevity of this sport. Not just the next match that could have happened, as you said, with Dane Viernes coming in here. I think it sets up for the inevitable of what is to come in the future to be able to make it undeniable. Because if you look at that last match with Dumpling, and I think Makini now has proven that I think he is more dangerous, going up against Dane than probably any competitor that he had.
For sure.
And so I just seeing that and the strength, on his defense, the charisma. Obviously, he didn't put, Dumpling away. I think if that would have happened, I think his stock would have absolutely ballooned up. I think it's more so, what happens with Dumpling, I think is more so the follow to this one, to be honest. Because as you said, I think Makini goes up, Dane Viernes, I think they booked that. Whenever that transpires, probably Power Slap 19, let's just say, as an example. I mean, obviously, there's still question marks surrounding that and Dane Viernes' availability, etc. And if Dane Viernes isn't training, Dane, get in the gym, buddy, because Makini Manu is coming for you. I think that's real safe to say. But Dumpling, I know you alluded to before, you thought if Dumpling lost, does it still echo the same sentiment that you think this is the last we've seen of Dumpling?
Hey, you put me on the spot. First of all, you're making me live by my words.
You said it, though.
It's tough. I don't remember. I don't know why I said that. But do I think it's the last we see of Dumpling? You know what? I'm going to double down and say yes. I do, because the climb back is just, I don't know. The guy doesn't live a super, extravagant life. He doesn't care to. And I think, obviously, he's got his young son, Sasha. He's got a wife, quite a bit of farmland there. Frank talked about this, and we'll dig into this and figure out kind of more about it. But, right, opening up dumpling stores in Russia. And obviously, he was just on a reality TV show. Like, I think the stuff that's going to be born from this is born. And I think the climb back just doesn't make sense. And he doesn't want to tarnish the legacy that he's already built. And accumulating some losses might. And realistically, if he's not fighting Makini and he's not fighting Dane Viernes, who is there to fight? Danny Van Heerden? Like, is that cool for fun? Sure. You guys are buddies that don't speak the same language, and it's always been cool. And ha. Danny's coming off of a weird win, and Dumpling's coming off a loss, whatever. And you try to figure that out. Okay. It doesn't necessarily get me out of bed wanting to pay my hard-earned money to go watch it. I mean, Makini Manu Dumpling was meteoric. It was important for that division, and I just don't understand what would motivate the Dumpling to want to make that climb back again when he's been at the top. And he hasn't incurred loss. Now he's incurred it twice in a row in his career. And, he's not getting younger. And every time we see him, he looks the same, if you ask me. Except that second strike. I'll never get away from the fact, I don't know what he did. I don't even know if he knows he did something. But his second strike was the craziest thing I've ever seen, and it worked. And so if he could figure out how to replicate that every time, then he should come back and he should run back for the title, because I think he'll be extremely successful.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know that he knows what he did. Like, I don't know that that was a conscious maneuver in his arsenal. And 2 losses in a row are tough, man, for a guy who's never lost in his career. He's not used to it.
Yeah.
And he sacrifices a lot to do this.
Yeah.
And I can't help but wonder, like, when you have this ancillary stuff going on, where you're getting these reality TV show things going on, like a Ultimate Fighter kind of thing, you're opening up, you're utilizing this Dumpling brand and this kind of likeness that you've created as the Dumpling to open up dumpling shops. I mean, I just don't think that there's going to be a ton of ways to motivate the guy going forward.
Yeah. I think a lot of it too just becomes geographical, because I think we see Dumpling more often than not competing in the Middle East versus North America. And right now, as you alluded to, Danny Van Heerden, who we know is stateside right now, but everybody else in that super heavyweight division is in America.
American, yeah.
And so you're talking Juicy, you're talking Kalani. I mean, I don't think those matches make a lot of sense.
Yeah, you're talking about Evian, you're talking about Zach.
So, I mean, yes, you have Dennis Villeneuve, who's obviously coming up here, but definitely down the ranks. I mean, there's no other combatant for him in that part of the world that I think makes sense the next time you run it back in Saudi or Qatar or Abu Dhabi. So I think it just that more so makes it difficult. I mean, I don't think Dumpling necessarily enjoys coming to North America, and so I think.
How old is the Dumpling?
I'm not sure, to be honest. He probably looks older than he is on age, but I think it's just a matter.
He's 35.
35. So just a matter of finding that fit for him, and right now there doesn't seem to be a clear path for him to do so.
Yeah, and I think that's all part of the motivation package. It's does it make sense, and is there a right opponent? And then from an organizational standpoint, who do you offer this guy? I mean, he's a legend. Mm-hmm. Could you go Kalani? Sure, but I mean, Kalani's already kind of proven himself. I think if Makini Manu didn't exist, Kalani would be the next one again, and I just don't know.
Kalani Juicy, man, that'd be a good fight.
Yeah, I think that for their culture is just so much bigger, and I think that there's such a story to tell there, and you put it's just like. I mean, obviously Tonga and India are very different, but it's a similar impact as far as how deeply that culture values representation in that way. So you take this very small, I mean, per capita, and I'm making this up completely, so feel free to roast me. Per capita, I mean, Polynesians have some of the most devoted and hardcore, so to speak, fans for their culture, irrespective of whatever the subject or the sport is, and we're learning now that Indians are the same way. And so I think, we didn't see that from Russia. We didn't see that. We really haven't seen that to this point from Kazakhstan. Even though Zakir himself is quite an anomaly and a bit of an enigma, I don't know that fan base has penetrated Power Slap to some degree. Yeah. Whereas I think based on what we're looking at on social media over the past week, India is on fire for slap fighting, and the craziest thing is that Jujhar Singh himself said that they would be, and they have been, and I think, So anyway, it was a long way to say that that Tongan connection, I believe that post did over 1,000 likes, which is pretty crazy. That's a crazy number for guys with that kind of following, just because it just has such a cultural impact. I mean, nobody loses. Tongans 100%. Win no matter what, and I think that's the beautiful part of it.
Yeah.
Only problem is you take 2 guys that are kind of on their way, and one of them's got to lose.
100%.
So is it the best move from a business perspective? Probably not.
Yeah.
But it's just there's a story to it.
Kalani's been and he's home and he's been so he's I think it's kind of a moment of truth in a lot of ways. Even just getting to know Kalani and his motivations and his his family life and stuff that he's got going on, the hardship that he's gone through. I'm not sure he's long here for Power Slap, to be quite honest with you. And so I think you need to figure out can you fast track him back to relevancy, or is this just a way 1 foot out the door?
Yeah.
So kind of just alluding to it, and I don't mean any disrespect to him by saying that whatsoever. I just think he's just in this kind of middling ground. He's the guy that fights and then we don't hear from him for a year.
Yeah, I mean he fought on December and then January.
Yeah.
And then he disappears again. Yeah. And I mean, I
don't think it's his doing, though. That's the thing, is I don't think it's his doing. I think he would like to be more active. But I just don't know what that relationship is between him and the organization and why he's not fighting more often, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Kalani was one of those guys early on that was kind of he was the new age or the new era or the vision for the future of
2 fights then a title.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah. And he he was the guy that looked the part, the walk, the talk, the size, the more athletic super heavyweights. And I think, Frank's talked about it. Makini actually is a guy that has previously prided himself on being larger. In his last fight, man, in his post-fight, he was very candid and honest about the health effects that has, right? And not being able to feel his legs for weeks before the fight. And I thought, unfortunately, it is an underappreciated moment because it's not something that people quite understand. But for a guy like that who's been heavy for, quite a bit of time at this point, right? Obviously, in his heyday, he wasn't, quite that large. And now he's kind of hanging around in the low 420s, the 10s and 20s, and he has a desire to really drop some serious weight because he's paying for it, man. And unfortunately,
For sure.
I think I can't help but wonder what that will do if he's not able to figure that all out. What will that do to his future and his trajectory? And these are words that came from him. I'm not putting words in his mouth at all.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Darius,
Keep it rolling, Darius. Yeah,
it's a big one, man. That division, though, I know we talked about it on the previous show for 17. Like, heavyweight is just so stacked, man. Like, I think Darius for a championship would be a mistake. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I think there's so many guys that you could use to test him to determine if he really. The last thing, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of tired of seeing guys just, here's Damien DeBell, and he just does the same thing to them that he did to the rest. Like, not that I want Damien DeBell to lose, but I want Damien DeBell to be challenged, and I think he wants to be challenged. That's why he's here. That's why he's been calling out the last challenge that he's ever had in Dorian Perez. He wants the guy who gave him the biggest and toughest challenge. It's who he is as a fighter. Yeah. And so my concern is just, Darius's resurgence has been great, but it's been up to a certain level, right? Wes Mena being the apex. Yeah. Wes Mena went up to the champion and was unsuccessful. By a long shot. It wasn't close. It wasn't competitive. It was a very one-sided affair. Wes, and I've said this, Wes's strike in that match was probably one of the greatest strikes I've ever seen in my life, and it did absolutely nothing to Damien DeBell. And I don't think that should be discounted. I think the level of this champion and this person that we're seeing in front of us, pound for pound, Damien DeBell is one of the most incredible, talented, freakish, anomalies that we've seen in combat sports. And I just don't want to do this number again where we're like, he got a nice win over this guy who most people haven't been able to beat, and here we're going to put him back as the champion. I respect what he's done, and I respect the win streak that he's on, but there's so many layers in that division. If this was welterweight, I'd say go for it because there's just not a lot of depth there at this current moment. Yeah. Heavyweight is extremely deep. There's other people. Give him Jujhar Singh. Give him Pono Paul. Give him Dorian Zakir have unfinished business, but the winner of Bryce Jones and Brian Kenny is one. Johnny Magna, Roman. There's so many guys in that division you can use to test Darius and determine kind of where he's at. Yeah. And the top echelon in that division. Pono's a great name for him to sort of take on and figure out. Because there's kind of a line forming to the title in that division, and a lot of these guys, depending on how these matches go, right, Dorian and Zakir, it's either going to be a complete blowout or it's going to be very close. That's it. It's not going to be anywhere in between. And so I think, there's enough people that you can give him 1-2 more fights. Yeah. And I respect that he doesn't, he's also very young. He's been fighting for a long time, and he's got rounds in him. But he himself is extremely young in the grand scheme of things, and I think rushing into a title against a guy that's just seems untouchable is probably not the greatest idea.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack. I didn't see that match between Wes Mena and Darius going the way that it did, but Darius is having this resurgence and he's continuing to win, be victorious. I thought Wes had a very good, legitimate opportunity to have this be a get-right fight for him. It didn't go that way, unfortunately, for him. And Darius, as you said, moves up. As you alluded to, I don't think Darius being fed to the bell is the right opportunity. A guy like Pono Paul, I think, makes a ton of sense right now. You run that back in Las Vegas, on home turf. I think it makes a lot of sense. Damien DeBell, and I'm going to pose a very interesting question to you. Is Damien DeBell better off kind of doing a John Jones type of thing, retiring for 3-4 years until the sport progresses, the paychecks progress, the talent level progresses, and transition back instead of taking accumulation of damage at such a young age? What age did you tell me earlier is the prime in slap fighting? 30?
I think the prime in combat sports is in early 30s in general.
So early 30s. Damien DeBell, 25, 26 years old. What if he takes a sabbatical?
I don't even know if he is that old. I think Damien's like 23.
Is he that young? Yeah, is that young? But I'm saying, like, what if he took a sabbatical for 4 or 5 years? You know, whatever Damien DeBell is getting now.
He's 23.
You know, 15 and 15 right now, 20 and 20. Just throw numbers out there. I don't know.
You're lowballing him. He's a superstar, man. He's
Sure.
probably getting 70 and 70.
Okay. Well, let's just say he comes back to say, okay, in 2035 maybe, but I'm just saying he comes back in 5 years, and what if now it's 60 and 60, 80 and 80? Does that change the trajectory? I mean, put yourself in Damien DeBell's shoes. What would you do or you're his manager, from a career management standpoint at this particular point in time? You know he has enough money to go to law school for the first couple of years. That's put away and done. Do you go divert this way and come back when the economics are different, when the competition is different? Do you save your health? Or do you continue just to take the paychecks and or being shelved like he has been? Because even though he's been active, he hasn't been that active.
Yeah.
So what makes sense? Like, could it prolong his career? Because, I mean, you think a guy coming in at 21 years old, you know, like he couldn't compete in season 1 because he was too young. I think he was 20 at that time. That's why he was a coach.
Yeah, he needed to be 21, yeah.
So he wasn't 21 years old. Like, we haven't seen a slap fighter do this for 15 years. So
it won't happen.
No, but
I don't think it'll ever happen.
But if you're saying his prime is coming into that early 30s, he's not going to get to his prime if this is it. Like,
so here's what I'll say. We've been together all day. I didn't see you drink any alcohol, and I didn't see you do any illicit drugs, but you were on some good shit right now. So here's my problem with what you're saying. Damien DeBell doesn't want to do this long term. He wants to go to law school. Like, take the shots, make the money, pay for what your dreams are, and get the fuck out of here. Stop getting hit in the head for money. I mean...
Yeah, but he'd go to law school for 2 years, he'd figure it out.
No, but that's what I mean. If he wants to go to law school, he should get the money that he needs to pay for that, and then, just never look back.
Let's just arbitrarily say 20 and 20. Okay, I'm just making a number up.
Yeah.
In 2 years, what is that number? In the same position?
Yeah, but...
What's that number?
I mean, economically, probably double.
Okay. So you're helping me out here, man. You're honestly helping me out.
I'm trying to be honest.
So, but here's what I'm saying. He already has enough money for 2 years of law school. Go to law school, come back in 2 years, get double. So now you're getting 40 and 40 to come back in 2 years. You can do one fight and be out.
All right, well, here's where I burst your bubble. So issue number 1 is the time off is never a good thing, right? Away from a sport. I don't care how good you were. It's just not a good thing.
Yeah, secondarily, Damien DeBell.
No. Secondarily, who's hiring a lawyer that's actively getting hit in the head for a living? It's not going to happen. So he's fucking up his law career. It's just, the whole thing just...
Dude, it's 2025, man.
If Damien DeBell's watching this, which is an extremely low chance, but if he is...
What do you mean he's a big fan of slap?
But this is, at this point, we're fucking rambling on for an hour. And we've just gotten to the part where he cares.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody will clip this and show it to him. If Damien DeBell, if you're listening, my man, take the hits while you can. Get as much money as you need to get into law school and get the fuck out of here. That's it. It's that simple. Dominate while you can continue to dominate and cut your losses when you can. Like, at your own leisure, when you're able to fuck the ego, forget everything else, do what you got to do, be great, and then give some other guys a chance. Because from what we see here, right now, with this guy in this fucking division, ain't nobody else touching his belt. So you be doing them a favor too. I mean,
I'd agree. I think stepping away for 2 years would be a smart decision. To be quite honest.
Chat. So please, somebody let us know what the fuck you think.
Who opened the main card, buddy? I can't remember. Who opened the main card?
Was it Vince Tracey, Andrew Fields?
Was it? I can talk about it anyways.
I mean, that was a fight, right?
It was a fight.
I'm sorry, Pita and Mikol decision.
Pita and Mikol.
So I don't think that one lived up to what I think we expected. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Pita again with the fouls. I mean,
is that the last of Pita we see?
No. She's.
What do you mean, no? What's her record?
Pita 0-3, but Pita is resilient. Darius was 0-3. Now he's 3-3. Mm-hmm. Pita's resilient, and I think she's got a hell of a fucking crack on her, man, and she's extremely tough. She's got to clean it up.
I'll leave that there, chat, if you want to chime in. She's
got a hell of a whack. Look, she's got a hell of a whack on her, and she's got an extremely durable chin. She's got to clean up that technique, and I think and we've said this. Originally her opponent was supposed to be Paige Van Zandt. What would that match have looked like? Who knows? But it's just disappointing to see these matches turn out this way. Because her opponent, obviously, Mikol's not going to get the respect she might deserve either, because there was nothing emphatic that happened. It was a decision. Yeah. It was, I think whoever scored it 30-26 is on fucking drugs. I'll say that. I mean, I'll be very honest about that part of it. But I mean, outside of that, it was super uneventful. And that's the criticism that females in this sport get, is that there's not enough of that kind of action. And this doesn't help that case. Yeah. And I feel like there could be, but there's got to be cleaner technique on one side, and I think, less emphasis on the showmanship and like deliver a really clean shot and fucking hurt your opponent versus worrying about, what was that and doing all the showboating when the performance is not extremely impressive. So when you talk about a division that's not super duper deep, Mikol beats Peta. I think she's looking at maybe a Holly Hood, Haley J. If Paige is going to be out for a while, maybe a Ellie Dempster. I mean, we don't know the status of Paige. We know that she was supposed to compete on Power Slap 16 in Abu Dhabi. I say supposed to. It was extremely preliminary. It wasn't like a signed contract or anything, but there was agreements on both sides, and she was scheduled. And then, unfortunately, she needed more time to handle her own faculties. And, we don't know what that means. I don't know when the fuck that means she's going to come back. So does that mean you shelve a person like Ellie Dempster who's on their way? When it came down to it, Ellie came in, beat Mikey by DQ, then gets Holly Hood, and now seemingly she's kind of like at the doorstep. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that a woman who's on a 2-fight win streak against, Chelsea Dotson and then now Peta could go on to take on a number one contender to be in talks for a belt as well. I mean, it's not an extremely deep division, and there's not a ton of women in it. So who else would you do? Rematch her with Chelsea?
I was just going to say that. Chelsea Dotson.
All right, well, I'm just the man with all the answers today.
Chelsea Dotson, that makes a lot of sense.
You want to give her Chelsea Dotson again?
I think you could, yeah.
Why, though? She beat Chelsea already.
Yeah.
Whether I agree or not that she beat Chelsea, when I was there live, I don't agree that she beat Chelsea.
What about Michael Michelle Brown?
Sure. Holly Hood and Michael Michelle Brown are in the same boat.
Think so?
Yeah, but I'd actually like to see Holly Hood. Now that I say that, I'd like to see Holly Hood and Michael Michelle Brown, to be honest with you. And I'm sure both of them would like it too for the payday and the optics and the eyes and the eyeballs. So, I mean, how many females in the women's division are on a 2-fight winning streak? None. Just Ellie. That's why. And when we talk about level, I mean, again, and I'll say this until the fucking cows come home, whether Chelsea likes me, doesn't like me, it doesn't matter. I'm just being straight honest here. Chelsea Dotson did not lose to Paige Van Zandt. She fought to a draw in her debut. Yeah. I don't believe in my heart of hearts that the decision went the right way when she fought Mikol. That's not up to me. She lost. Okay. Then she takes on Peta, gets her nose shattered, handles it like a fucking complete and total badass. Like, you got to throw a dog a bone at some point in time, and I think Chelsea Dotson's shown herself to be a fucking absolute dog.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, she's in there. I mean, let's see. Let's matchmake them all. Mikol, Ellie, Mikey, Holly Hood.
Where's Lee with Chelsea?
Chelsea Paige. Fuck it. Or if I play your game, Ellie Paige, Chelsea, Mikol rematch, Michael, Holly Hood. But I think, I just don't, I mean, I know Frank said January, February-ish for Paige. I don't think that happens.
No. Sooner or later?
Later.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that happens. I don't think we see Paige early 2026.
Gotcha. All right, man. Keep the show rolling.
Who else do we got?
I mean, let's go Vince Tracey. Let's go Canadian. I know.
That's up there. Yeah, my favorite fucking. That was the next one though.
Exactly. See, Vince Tracey.
So Vince Tracey,
fellow Canadian, pulls out a victory in kind of a catch weight. 163.5 versus 164. Originally it was supposed to start at 155. Didn't 170 was the cap. These two guys come in incredibly close in weights. call it what you want, lightweight or it's a welterweight match. I don't think it really matters at this particular point.
Super welterweight.
Super welter. But you know what? We talked about the chin of Andrew Fields going into this and the durability that he had, and Vince Tracey was able to find that gear. A guy that was able to crack him and put up a victory. Now 2 impressive KOs. We know how much KOs, especially in back-to-back of Tyler Gross and now Andrew Fields, how much that means in the eyes of the matchmakers here in Power Slap. And I think this skyrockets Vince Tracey up the ranks, regardless of which division he goes to next. I think, can you say, okay, the lack of talent at 55, could you give Tracey to Robert Trujillo? Makes some sense. Do we think it's going to be a competitive match? I'm not so sure. It's pretty clear more, especially because we didn't see Vince Tracey there. Which could also lead to, I think, some hesitation from the brass of Power Slap that Tracey was supposed to make 155 and pulled out. Even though he did the honorable thing, he still couldn't make it to that weight cap. Would you give a guy a title shot who's never been there? How is he going to look? How is he going to feel? How bad is he going to be depleted to get down to that level? If not, now you cycle back to the 170 division, who we've talked about right now is probably one of the thinner divisions in Power Slap. So
let's just call it what it is. Welterweight is, aside from lightweight being in complete disarray and being a fraction of a division, welterweight is in complete total chaos.
Yeah.
There's no standout talent in welterweight. The best guys in the world are fighting each other tomorrow. And when you look at
where do you go? KO Chris?
KO Chris is supposed to be a fucking middleweight apparently.
Emmanuel Muniz?
Same thing. Who knows what he's doing? His last fight was at middleweight. He's lost to the reigning champion twice.
Jules Scott's out in the sunset?
Jules Scott's gone.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm pretty fucking confident Jules Scott's gone.
Yeah, he's off the ranks, buddy.
Yeah, and if you ask him, he'll tell you he resigned. And listen, whatever.
It's all good,
That's great, man. If you go on the internet saying fuck Power Slap all the time for an organization you competed for, like a super professional person, so be it, man. Good luck to you. But
does the outcome of Provost and Azael? Depending how it goes, does Vince Tracey winner of that?
Yeah, listen, if Provost goes and fucking starches Azael, sure. But I think...
But if Azael wins, would you give him Tracey?
Well, here's the problem. Vince Tracey wants to compete at 155. He has said that. You can't keep competing at welterweight and then wanting to be at 55. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Vince Tracey's in the welterweight rankings.
How? He's never fought
Is he in the lightweight rankings?
No, how could he be in lightweight?
Andrew Fields is in the lightweight rankings and he's never fought in lightweight.
I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. We're past midnight now, buddy.
Well, these rankings are a little wonky. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's no 4 or 5. So who knows what who's what?
What's happening? All right.
I think.
Just waiting for the update on the old website.
Yeah, weigh-ins should be starting here any minute, and they have the link up, so that's all I was checking out. But
cool.
I think, like I said, if Andrew Provost is able to have a really, really breakout performance against Azael, he's not going to win by DQ. I can tell you that. So, I'll hear it. But giving Azael to Blackburn, I'm just not a fan of guys who lose to somebody getting a championship opportunity against them again in fucking 6 months.
Yeah.
Not enough is going to change at that level. When you just got...
But then what do you do with... Azael comes in and fucking steamrolls Provost tomorrow night.
He should.
But then what do you do with Azael?
You kind of got to let the other guys in the division figure that out.
Manny?
That would be a great fight. Manny and Azael would be a great fight.
Have they fought before?
Yeah, at middleweight. But the problem is... The issue is that Blackburn is... As long as he's the champion, and none of it makes sense for any of them. Think about this. Cole Young, he loses. The first fight was a draw. If he loses this match by some sort of very decisive, method, take him out of the equation. Nothing makes sense to rematch him in the short term. Azael just got knocked out by the guy. His debut at welterweight doesn't make sense to rematch him against the guy. Yeah. Manny Muniz lost twice to him. Doesn't make sense to rematch the guy. Jules Scott is gone. Fucking KO Chris is all over the place between higher up in the welterweight rankings and talking about going to middleweight, but he is losing all these guys. Right? He just fought Manny again and he lost to him. You're really not making a great case. And then you got Vince Tracey who doesn't want to compete at welterweight, but is kind of like tiptoeing towards the welterweight mark versus the lightweight mark. But if you look at Vince Tracey, same thing. So Vince Tracey beats...
Bringing him to the other Canadian?
Who?
Dakota.
Who, Vince Tracey?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I mean...
Well,
okay,
who
so here's what I'll
does Vince
say.
Tracey fight?
Here's what I'll say.
Who does Vince Tracey fight
so
then?
that's a good point. If Vince Tracey can get through Conor McGregor, he's ready for Robert Trujillo. The problem is Vince Tracey hasn't made 155 pounds. He has to.
Yeah.
And until he makes 155 pounds, I think none of the conversations are worth having. He has to figure out his weight, figure out what he wants to do. If he wants to be at 70, compete at 70. But beating Tyler Gross is one thing. Beating Andrew Fields is another thing. But the other question I have is, lower that weight. And now we're talking a little bit different because Andrew Fields was prepared to make 155 pounds. Mm-hmm. He was called off because Vince Tracey couldn't make the weight. And so I think the only person that fucking makes sense, I mean, at this point, lightweight's kind of got a Canadian invasion going on between Bovaert, McGregor, and Vince Tracey seemingly. Yeah. So if there's 3 people in there that can make you a fucking Canadian champion. Now, I don't know if any of them are going to, but I can tell you what right now. Until I see Vince Tracey at 155 pounds, I'm convinced that you're feeding that dude to fucking Godzilla if you put him in the lightweight division against Robert Trujillo without him having a match first.
Yeah, I agree with you. Who else on that card, buddy?
Well, before that, we were at Diorbeck and Colton Cole. So, but let's go to Jujhar and Anatoly.
Jujhar and Anatoly. I mean,
Singh is king, man. Singh is king.
Yeah.
What performance?
What performance?
No, I said what a performance.
Yeah.
Like for.
Yeah, but I mean, let's pump the brakes here a little bit, okay? You're 219 pounds.
Okay.
In the heavyweight division.
Okay.
Words out of your mouth. He needs to go down to light heavyweight before this match happens.
Sure.
Yes, there was a performance.
But Singh is king.
Yes, Singh can be king, but who's he facing again?
Anatoly Galushkin.
Anatoly is not Damon DeBell.
Sure.
So let's be real with where this is at. Anatoly isn't Pono Pao. Not yet. Maybe never.
He's the Russian Pono Pao, man. He's got the tattoos going.
Sure.
He's got more hair.
But the fact that you have that much of a weight differential, like that's Pono Paul, James Seekman.
Yeah, but that's even better.
Yeah, but Pono Paul won, and it totally lost.
No, but that's the point. That's the point I'm making. Is like, so Jujhar is even more that guy.
So he's James Seekman in disguise?
No, because James Seekman lost. Jujhar won. Singh is king, baby.
Yeah.
I mean,
let me ask you this: if James Seekman then is victorious over Lewis Robinson, would you give Jujhar to Seekman? Why not?
Yeah, that would be my exact answer. Why not? But again, dude, the problem with heavyweight is it's like a fucking labyrinth. There's so
where are you
many
gonna go?
athletes.
Where are you gonna go then?
You can do Jujhar versus, can you imagine Jujhar
West
versus?
Mena. You got anything to say West Mena the other day?
Sure, West Mena. You can do Jujhar versus West Mena. You can do. The problem is that West is coming off a loss. Jujhar's coming off a win.
Yeah,
actually, West is coming off 2 losses. West is coming off 2 losses.
Sure, against Damien DeBell and Darius.
Yeah, so do you want to put West in a position where he's gonna, if he loses to a new guy, then what?
Yeah, but you got Jujhar versus fucking guy that's not ranked.
Jujhar versus Dorian would be great. Dorian would get canceled immediately for saying some stupid shit. That'd be good.
Oh shit!
Am I right or am I right?
Yeah,
I mean, come on, Dorian would get canceled immediately.
100% he would.
He'd be on a fucking billboard somewhere with a hit on his head, like straight up. Dorian would say some stupid shit.
I think that's a little too rich, man. A little too rich.
So for those of you guys at home who think we're like clickbaity fucking news media who just does headlines, Dorian Perez said in his interview with you, I think he said a bunch of gibberish that he was pretending was Russian, and then he said.
When I called him on ask that he speaks Russian.
He said, suck my, use your imagination in the interview. And I did not clip that and post it. I posted something completely different. That was the easiest thing to clip to get Zakir fucking fired up and pissed off. Because not only did he make fun of his culture by speaking gibberish and pretending it was talking to him in real language, but then he said, suck my whatever in Russian. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how much more you can be disrespectful to a guy who's never done anything to you. Dorian Perez is the most edgy athlete we've ever seen in power style. I think he beats Austin Turpin 10 times out of 10 on the edge meter. And I think you gotta be careful who you put him up against, man, because he really gets you in some fucking trouble. But I'd love to see that fight because I get it.
With DTP? It's not happening.
No, I'm just saying chin versus chin. Like Jujhar literally said like his eye was hurting and he just stood there and just pointed at it and was like,
there's no way, man.
Like
There's
he didn't even look
way.
and it was just crazy.
There's no way.
I've seen crazier things. Kalani Crazy Hawaiian was a crazier thing. Nate Bernard, Damien DeBell was a crazier thing.
I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Stevie Ray Ellis, Austin Turpin was a crazier thing, bro.
Sure.
You gotta believe, man.
Sure. No. Hold on. Austin motherfucking Turpin and Jujhar Singh. Could you imagine?
It would be.
Would it be canceled?
It'd be canceled. It'd be the same thing.
Could you imagine?
He'd say some stupid shit, man. He'd say some stupid shit. Like, you just can't. Because obviously there's a religious element there that's important to acknowledge.
Would that be like?
And I don't think these guys.
Would that be like Khabib fighting in Russia versus Conor? Like.
Yeah, I don't think these guys give a fuck. That's the problem. Like, I think that they would. Yeah, I think that they would say some wild shit. Just being honest. But besides the point, I mean, obviously we don't make matches based on that. But
I mean, Wes Minna, Aaron Turner. I mean, Ellis.
Johnny Magna, Jordan Oasis. Like, dude, this division is. Yeah,
there you
deep.
go. That's
you could get a top
better.
15.
That's better.
You could get a top 15 for heavyweight right now, and it would be.
I think Oasis. You know what, Jordan Oasis. Give him. You know what? Give him Jordan Oasis. Actually, I like that. Two guys, 1-1.
I kind of like Jordan Oasis, Johnny Magna, to be honest with you.
I don't know.
I want somebody to challenge Jordan. I want to see. I want to see Jordan get rattled.
But you know, if Darius didn't do what he did, I would have said Darius and Magna would have been a great fight.
Yeah, but he just had a great performance.
I know.
I think he deserves somebody better.
But Magna, then who do you feel with Magna?
No, you know what? We're gonna cut the shit because I don't know why we keep doing this.
What?
Wes Manapone. What the fuck are we doing here? It needs to just get. We need to solve this thing.
Yeah.
Wes Manapone has a ... after it, and it needs to have a fucking period. Mm-hmm. We need to end this once and for all. These guys have been dormant when it comes to each other because this fight's not happening, but it needs to. It's a true rivalry, guys that don't like each other. Hash it out, figure out who's the better guy, and you'll figure out who's really the gatekeeper in the heavyweight division. Because right now, bar none, heavyweight is the deepest division.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't even talked about the Montañas and the brother that's coming.
Yeah, Hooli.
That could actually impact all these guys.
No offense to Ro. I like Ro. Ro's a really nice guy, but honestly, I just taking this from what I saw from Hooli at the training camp, as well as their differences in size and build, and I think Hooli's got more dexterity, and I think he's a little bit more mobile and flexible. Ro, my experience with his strike is just my observation of it feels like it's very like mechanical, and that there's something that's kind of not allowing him to really generate the amount of power that I think he intends to.
I understand, yeah.
I think Hooli's gonna have no issue at all. I mean, listen, in fucking 24 hours I could be wrong. Who knows? But that's another entry to a division that's already pretty stacked, man. I'm telling you, heavyweight's gotta have a lot of They can do an all heavyweight card with all the talent because we gotta fucking rank some people. We gotta move some guys around to figure out who's what because that division's deep.
I don't know if you heard it on camera with Johnny Magna. Phillips, shut up.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
No, did you hear that?
I didn't hear it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't hear it, but he acknowledged it.
Yeah.
Johnny Magna's fun, man. Johnny Magna's fun.
Because I was Ricky So's coach and Phillips was chirping.
Listen,
Phillips, shut up! Whack! And knocked him out.
And you also got to think about. These guys who have been on the wrong side of these. The Ricky Souths, the Jackson Slades. Like, are they gone or do they come back? And if they come back, now those guys got to iron it out. I'm telling you, you're starting to get into like Ryan Kenny's still around there, man, and Bryce Jones. Like, that's let's do it. Let's indulge the people off the top of our head. Damon DeBell, Dorian Perez, Zakir Namabaya, Wes Manapone Paul, Cooper Housley, Brian Ellis, Ro Montana, Johnny Magna, Jordan Oasis, Aaron Turner, Ryan Kenny.
Come on, buddy. You can lose somebody. Cody Ogg.
He's not ranked.
But he should be.
He's there. Cody Ogg's there, but okay, Cody Ogg.
Yeah.
I said Aaron. I said Wes. I said
Pono.
I said Damian. Nate.
Turpin. We're going to throw him in
Turpin.
now.
That's fucking... How many guys is his name? 15 people?
Pretty close.
That's his name, 15 people. 15 people that should be ranked in the heavyweight division.
Can you name 15 welterweights?
No. I don't even know if there are 15 welterweights.
15 middleweights?
Hold on. Let's check this. Let's fact check this. Who did I miss? Siegman,
there you go.
So take Cody Ogg out, put Siegman in. That's 15, and then you add Cody Ogg as a 16th because he's not ranked. But to be fair, I put Cooper in there, so they're kind of in the same bucket. Guys that haven't been on the rankings in a while.
For sure.
Dude, this is a steep fucking division. Some of these guys need to go to light heavyweight or they need to make a top 20 fucking heavyweight ranking.
Dwayne Crespo and eat 3 pizzas on a Friday night.
Some shit, man.
So, awesome, man. Is that the last match or what?
No. So Jujhar Singh and Anatoly, and then we move on to. I just missed it. Colton Cole, Diurbek.
Yeah.
Uneventful. One thing that we didn't really even talk about that we kind of realized was these orbital fractures, man. They're becoming a bit of a frequent occurrence these last few events, right? Obviously, the former middleweight champion Brandon Bordeaux suffers an orbital fracture. Zicky Dice, who made his debut on the undercard of Power Slap 16.
Heavyweight?
Heavyweight also. Yeah, so Zicky and Marty, those guys are two heavyweights as well that threw leather. Again, unranked. But, I mean, I'm telling you, man, you got 20 guys that are kind of in that mix that you could really matchmake anybody against anybody. But so Zicky Dice orbital fracture and Colton Cole orbital fracture. So you got 3 orbital fractures in 3 weeks of events. What does that mean? I think obviously it's high strikes, right, which is a bit of a problem.
Yeah. But it was funny, early on it was the neck strikes that they were worried about.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to see a trend of the upward trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to be a pussy, but to be quite frank, like an orbital fracture is a big deal, man. Like there's a lot of important hardware around your eyeballs. I mean, you shatter that shit. Like there's a lot of risk there, and I don't want to misspeak, so I won't even say any names.
But then what do you do then? Do you increase the punishment for that type of thing to deter it?
No, I think you got to be more strict. So I don't want to get down this rabbit hole because it just always ends badly. But there's it feels like since Power Slap 13, 14, there's been an extreme uptick in objections to the way that the officiating is happening, and I think.
But what's changed?
No, so what I think the issue is that the rules and this is kind of part of where it's important for you to read things as they are and not as you want them to be. The rules are black and white enough that they define circumstances. They're not black and white enough that they define nuances. And so, a minor heel lift, what's minor? Who makes that decision, right? Is it me? Is it you? Is it fucking, the Virgin Mary? Is it John the Baptist? Like, who makes that determination on what's minor? The official, who's deemed the chief official for that match. And so, what Jason believes is minor might not be what Mark believes is minor, might not be what Keith believes is minor. So you can't sit here and say, oh, it's clear as day, we all saw it. It's not up to you. It's up to the official. And, I think in a lot of cases what we see is, the terminology for flinching, and I want to be clear here because, everybody always wants to talk about the rules and stuff. So let's read the rules for what they are, right? Powerslap.com/rules. If you haven't been there, you should. But if you look at what constitutes a flinch. A flinch is bodily movement including blocking by a shoulder raise or otherwise head movement that adversely affects a strike and occurs after setting a defensive position. Adversely affects a strike is the key phrase there. Mm-hmm. Who makes the decision on what adversely affects a strike or not? The official. And so that's, I think, the problem that you have when you talk about why certain fouls aren't called consistently is because it's at the discretion of the official based on how they interpreted that rule and how they think that applies to what actually happened. So when you talk about these orbital fractures, I mean, theoretically, your orbital goes down to about here, which would be well within the strike zone, theoretically, right? The top of your hand. Touching that area is not unusual.
Sure.
A lot of the time we see hands going to the eye. I think that's a positional thing, depending on which way you're going to, put your hand on your opponent's face. But it's tough. We don't want to see it. And I think in that regard, you probably, as an official, to prevent that, you want to get a little more strict and defined about where your space is. But the reality is this, and I know nobody wants to hear this, and I get it, and I'll be the bad guy 10 times out of 10 because I'm just trying to be honest, because we get messages about this shit all the time. People commenting, oh, why don't you guys call out the officiating and blah, blah. Listen, it's not our decision. It doesn't matter if we sit and we stand on the fucking rooftops and we yell that the officials aren't doing what they're supposed to do. It changes nothing. We're not the commission. The commission is meant to be a unbiased, neutral party that's not influenced by others, which is quite frankly exactly what we would be trying to do if we were to sit there and say, oh, they're not doing X, Y, and Z, they're missing this, they're missing that. If you watch our watch parties, in real time, if we see something that we're questioning, we'll say it. And You know, but I'm not somebody that's going to go back and review strikes and all this shit to determine, oh, this was foul, this wasn't foul. It's not my area. We don't do, you know, frame by frame breakdowns of fights. It's not what we do. And you know, it's unfortunate if you feel like you're an athlete that's been on the wrong side of one of those things. It's a totally different thing when we're talking about now there's an increase or an uptick in injuries that we can see, right, in these orbital fractures. Like I said, I've just named 3 people that we know publicly. There's a wrist fracture out there that I won't disclose who that is yet because they've decided to not share that at this moment, but hopefully in the future we can. But there are some injuries that have happened that recently that I think it's important for you to know, and we see it a lot where, you know, guys or gals will flinch or move in some way, or maybe it's just a bad strike and they club and they'll start favoring their hand immediately. And
I mean, I was going to say, it seems like we get an evolution. You know, we go through periods of time where stepping was a massive issue.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like we're in this phase right now where flinching is a big issue right now, which could also lead to some of these other high strikes, et cetera, because we are seeing athletes that are making the compression downwards, the changing of angles as well. And, you know, we obviously, I mean, clubbing was the first thing, I think, originally. Then it went to stepping. Now we're in the age of flinching. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, stepping's unheard of. Like, and those calls happening,
correct,
is very rare.
Correct. And so now it's changing, and now it's more of the flinch fest, as you know, fans, you know, of our channel and other channels as well like to allude to, and it's happening more and more. And so, you know, there's obviously the fighter safety side of it, and we know when that target moves and that target changes, things happen. I mean, the best, like you know, Wolverine can, you know, changes. If he sees his athlete's head change, he from wind up 1, 2, and 3 can change the trajectory and you know, the placement of his wrist and his elbow going to the strike. But we're not seeing that with a lot of others. A lot of others are robotic. I'm going to swing the exact same way regardless of where that target is. And so I think that evolution of it is kind of where we're at right now in that particular moment. And you know, and it's just because I think we're seeing more, I would say creativity, but we're seeing athletes try to get an edge on the defensive side. And I think with the shoulder shrugging and the up and down
that damage
movement,
fully.
exactly, to not absorb it. You know, we've seen athletes that lean inwards, we've seen athletes that try and lean backwards a bit. We see the chin tucking, you know, the eye position versus chin tuck. You know, there's a lot of people trying to gain that much of an edge. And I think it's being exemplified because we're seeing, you know, match after match after match, we're seeing people try different techniques. And we know that the referees as well. When we talk with Mark Smith, he knows. I know what Brandon Bordeaux wants to do. I know what Isaiah's trying to do.
Right.
He's aware. He's aware of what they are trying to do. But for new athletes or people who haven't seen it, they're trying other techniques on how to do it. I mean, we're even seeing head dips now.
Yeah.
We didn't see. That wasn't like in this career. I mean, Vern Cathy kind of started that a bit here in the recent time, and it kind of trended from Nola here now, but. It's not the right play, but we're starting to see that more and more as well. Kind of that lean into it. It's also talking when you're leaning, you're also bringing that orbital bone more in the line of fire as well. And so, you know, I'm not saying any one specific of the 3 that you mentioned earlier, but we're starting to see more of that movement, and so it's going to be that fine balance.
Well, Colton was that because that's why he got disqualified and he lost, even though it was the strike wasn't in the permitted striking zone. It was due to the flinch that happened, and then of course now he's walking away with a broken orbital. Like, I think there should be something said for that. Obviously, from a fighter safety perspective, we don't want guys walking around with broken orbitals. It's not a simple injury, and it's you know, it surrounds a part of your body that you probably care quite a bit about, right? Our sight, and I think you know, seeing 3 is a little bit alarming in a short period of time. Yeah. But I don't know that that's fully an officiating thing, you know, or is it as much, or should I say, as much as it is a technique thing and just guys trying to figure out how they can lessen that, you know, undefended damage. And you know, again, I'd like to see maybe some of the rules be tightened up a little bit more, but I think honestly the rules are the way that they are by design. That's my belief, and you can fight it all you want, but that's not really going to go your way.
I mean, wrap it up, my man. I mean, you're going to be holding it down on Friday, Power Slap 17, the watch-along party. I know you got some special guests lined up as well for that particular event. I'll be in the air, midair. Might make a guest appearance or so if I can, maybe in Denver or something
You'll be
like
watching
that.
fucking power stuff in the sky, like we did
Exactly.
Banaka, looking at Saudi Arabia.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So, time and place. Where can they watch it, Ding?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, YouTube. Obviously, this event's a little later, so it's at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we'll kick it off at 12:45. You know, I think the biggest special guest that you guys will see, for those of you who know, is Big Jeeves. Big Jeeves will be jumping on as a co-host for, you know. There's a lot of you guys that don't, know really a whole lot about Big Jeeves, but if you're an OG or a guy who's been around since the beginning, you know exactly who Big Jeeves is, and yeah, he'll be jumping in and having a lot of fun.
Awesome.